Built to win, designed to break hearts. It was supposed to dominate. Instead, it disappeared almost overnight, and the people who believed in it never recovered. To understand why this car still hurts to remember, we need to go back. Back to a moment when winning meant survival, when racing success decided a brand's future, and failure meant extinction. At the time, the industry was ruthless. New competitors were faster. Rules were changing mid-season, and reputations were fragile. This car was conceived under pressure. Not passion, not nostalgia. Pressure. Executives demanded a miracle. Engineers were given impossible targets. Lightweight, powerful, reliable, all at once. On paper, it looked unbeatable. Advanced materials, radical geometry, a powertrain built for domination. Inside the company, hope returned. Teams worked nights. Prototypes shaved seconds every test. The numbers avoided fear, because numbers don't feel stress. People do. As the launch approached, confidence turned into obsession. Every department believed this machine would rewrite history, not just on track, but in showrooms. Marketing called it the future. Engineers called it fragile. Management called it necessary. Those disagreements were buried under deadlines. When the car finally rolled out, the world paid attention. The design was aggressive, uncompromising, purpose-built. Nothing about it felt friendly. Everything about it felt intentional. Early tests were astonishing. Lap times dropped instantly. Drivers smiled and frowned at the same time, because speed came easily, but trust did not. Small issues appeared first. Heat where it shouldn't exist. Stress where calculations said it wouldn't. However, there was no time to stop. Too much money was already spent. Too many promises already made. Racing schedules waited for no one, and retreat was no longer an option. So the car went racing, not fully ready, but fully committed. And that's when the cracks began to show. Not in public, not yet, but deep inside the machine itself. Because winning fast is one thing, surviving pressure is another, and this car was about to learn the difference. At first, the results justified every risk. Qualifying time stunned competitors. Corners were taken flatter. Straights ended sooner than expected. The car did what it was built to do. It won. But beneath those victories, something felt unstable. Not in handling, in endurance. Races exposed what testing never could. Sustained heat cycles. Relentless vibration. Hours of stress instead of minutes. Small components began to fail. Not catastrophically. Quietly. Sensors misread data. Fasteners loosened under load. Cooling margins vanished lap by lap. Engineers saw the warning signs immediately. They asked for revisions, for reinforcements, for time. There was none. Championship points mattered more than caution. Sponsors demanded presence. Silence felt like weakness. So fixes were improvised. Temporary solutions layered over permanent problems. Weight was added where weight was forbidden. Each patch saved one race, and endangered the next. Drivers felt it before anyone admitted it. The car behaved differently near the end. Not slower. Uncertain. Steering feedback dulled. Brake feel shifted. Balance moved without warning. Trust began to erode. Still, walking away felt impossible. Because walking away meant admitting the dream was flawed. Meanwhile, competitors adapted. They refined. They stabilized. They waited. And then came the failures everyone remembers. Not dramatic explosions. Just cars rolling to a stop. One race. Then another. The narrative flipped instantly. From dominance to fragility. From brilliance to recklessness. Media scrutiny intensified. Questions grew sharper. Confidence drained. Inside the team, morale collapsed. Engineers blamed timelines. Management blamed execution. No one blamed the idea itself. Yet, because accepting that truth would mean facing something worse than defeat. It would mean accepting heartbreak. And that realization was still approaching. The breaking point arrived without drama. No crash. No explosion. Just inevitability. A race that should have been routine turned into surrender. The car slowed, then faded, then stopped. Engineers stared at data they already understood. The numbers confirmed what emotions tried to deny. The design was too close to the edge, not flawed in concept, flawed in tolerance. Every component worked perfectly alone. Together, they asked too much of each other. Heat stacked, stress multiplied, margins vanished. This car had been built like a blade, sharp, precise, unforgiving. And blades don't bend, they break. Behind closed doors, meetings grew tense. Budgets were gone, timelines were gone, belief was going next. To fix the issues meant redesigning the core. That meant weight. That meant slower lap times. That meant losing the very advantage it was born to deliver. So the question changed. Not how to win, but whether winning was still possible. Sponsors began to hesitate. Executives began to calculate exits. Silence replaced urgency. The team realized something painful. They had built a car to win once, not to last. And racing does not forgive that mistake. As withdrawals increased, the paddock moved on. Other teams celebrated. New heroes emerged. This car became a footnote mid-season, a threat neutralized by time. Inside the factory, the mood shifted from panic to grief. Years of work reduced to lessons. Careers redirected quietly. Some engineers left the industry entirely. Others carried the experience forward like a scar, because they understood the truth now. Performance without resilience is a trap. Speed without endurance is theater. This car proved that brilliance alone is not enough. That victory demands patience, balance, restraint. And yet, the hardest part was still ahead, because the legacy of this machine was about to be decided, not by what it achieved, but by what it cost. And that cost would define everything that followed. The car was officially withdrawn quietly. No announcement of failure, no public postmortem, just a shift in focus, a new project, a new direction. But inside the company, nothing was the same. Trust had been broken between departments, between leadership and engineers, between belief and reality. The car became a lesson whispered to new hires, a reminder that ambition without patience can destroy itself, that winning once is meaningless if you cannot finish. Yet, something strange happened over time. The heartbreak softened, and admiration took its place, because people began to understand what was attempted, not a safe evolution, but a leap. This machine wasn't built to last forever. It was built to challenge limits, and limits always push back. Today, the car is remembered differently, not as a failure, but as a warning carved into metal. It taught the industry that resilience matters more than headlines, that speed must survive pressure, and that progress demands humility. Built to win, designed to break hearts. And sometimes, the most important victories are the ones that hurt enough to change us. Sometimes the smallest shift in perspective becomes the beginning of a new future, built to